Tonight, House and Senate Republicans unveil competing plans to cut your taxes. But will the proposals actually help you and me? Plus, former Trump advisor Michael Flynn reportedly in Robert Mueller's crosshairs. Judge Napolitano takes the case. And did Bill Clinton really say the president has a hard time telling the truth? Oh, delicious irony. Grab a fork. It is time to feast. This whole tax reform ruse is becoming utter nonsense as the shell game shifting your money has turned both houses of Congress against each other. House Republicans have been furiously de-snagging their tax bill all day, huddled together like sweaty villains in the dank basement of despair. Senate Republicans, never ones to miss an opportunity to fail, answered the challenge and threw a suitcase full of monkey wrenches into revenue collection by insisting on keeping the mortgage interest rate deduction at $1 million, delaying the cut to the corporate tax rate by a year, and completely getting rid of state and local deductions. Well, according to the Tax Policy Center, some middle-income earners will end up paying more in the end because the budget does nothing to constrain spending on critical areas like entitlements, which gobble up $2 trillion of the budget, and defense. Without meaningful self-imposed austerity, these tax cuts may give you the false sense you get to keep more of your money, but really the gambit is just fooling you into paying the same or more in other realms. Imagine you go to the doctor with excruciating neck pain you've had since 2008. This is most people with their finances and tax obligations. He tells you he can fix your neck pain, but only by giving you a terrible stomachache. That's exactly what's happening here. When the government gives you your wallet back but steals your briefcase, it doesn't exactly fill you with prescription-strength federal confidence. If Congress fails on taxes, which they probably will, they have not only committed legislative malpractice, they should be thrown out en masse for being an immoral pain in the ass. The end. Let us begin. I'm Kennedy. Tax reform should be a very simple equation. Reduce government spending, then cut taxes. So why is this so difficult to pull off? Let me bring in my animatronic party panel. It's man happy once again. It's former CIA operative and president of Diligence LLC. Mike Baker is here, joined by comedian and writer extraordinaire Jimmy Fela in the house, and Libertarian National Committee Chairman Nick Sarwark is here. God, I hope I'm saying your name right.
You're saying it absolutely right.
Sarwark.
Sarwark.
Yeah,
strong,
but you mispronounced Baker. So.
Yeah, I did. I forgot. It's Bacher.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It was a look ahead.
Yeah.
It was a look ahead game on the schedule.
All right, so let's talk taxes. Baker, will the code be simplified at all, as promised?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think you nailed it in what was a very eloquent opening little speech there.
Thank you.
It's astounding to me that they don't understand self-preservation, and by they I mean Republicans, and really at the end of the day any politician up on Capitol Hill. But they have managed to turn what should have been, and I don't want to oversimplify it because it's a difficult process trying to legislate anything through that morass up there. But what should have been a fairly straightforward concept of reducing spending, right, and cutting some tax and enhancing the potential for growth.
Yes.
The fact that the Senate now has weighed in with this ridiculous series of ideas, including the delay of the corporate tax, which I don't know anybody, no matter where they sit on the political spectrum.
That's the dumbest idea in this whole thing.
And they've done it. So no, I think this is just. I don't even think they're going to get something pushed through.
No.
Yeah.
Much less what
it's almost. It's interesting you bring that up because it's almost self-sabotage.
Oh, what they've done?
It's almost like they're purposefully trying to fail. And I don't know why. Why wouldn't you want a gimme? Why wouldn't you want a political win or re-election?
Republicans can't play as a team, and that means something for me because I'm a Giant fan, so I am well-versed on the issue.
Tell me about it, brother.
But it's scary because if you look at the analysis by the Tax Policy Center, this brings GDP to 97.2%. This brings our debt to 97% of our GDP, which is like, we wrote this plan with Johnny Depp. Like, this is really bad money management by us. So I'd like to see something change fast.
And you know Johnny Depp is known for his bad money management.
He is, and buying a lot of expensive wine.
But I'm looking forward to that scarf write-off. We're going to lose the salt write-off, but I can lose some scarves.
You lose the salt, you gain the scarf. Okay, so what have we learned about Republicans and power, Nick?
Basically, once they get into power, they can't do anything. When they control both houses in the presidency, they increase spending, they increase the national debt and the deficit. You know, that there's supposedly a tax cut coming, but really all it is a tax increase on my kids, your kids.
Yeah.
You know, they're just kicking it down the road.
And an increase on some people. They may see a slight reduction in their income tax, but they're going to feel it in other areas where they can't make basic deductions, and the standard deduction may not be enough to offset that.
Yeah, and anytime they do one of these tax plans where they roll it out in secret, what you get is this death by 1,000 cuts. A lot of my friends on Capitol Hill think it's 50-50 whether they pass anything.
Yeah, you have friends on Capitol Hill?
Couple.
You should have had to declare that before he came on the show.
Who admits that?
We have a neon sign above the green room door that says "Drain the Swamp."
It's all over.
It's, you know, and here we are, just filled with gators. Now, meantime, political analysts say that if the GOP fails to get tax reform passed, 2018 could be a bloodbath. This week's election losses were a major wake-up call. Right now, the party has very little to brag about, despite having control of the White House and both sides of Congress. Republicans have no real legislative victories, and last night, Arizona Senator John McCain said, quote, "Unless we get our act together, we're going to lose heavily." So can Republicans get their act together? Mike Baker, he's right. Okay, by the way, not a surprise. Ed Gillespie lost in Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, everyone's making it seem like he was ahead by 20 points.
Yeah.
It's a
So they win
Democratic
Virginia.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Democrats win Virginia. They were supposed to win New Jersey. If it were closer in Virginia, they should be worried. But does this somehow rewrite the playbook for Democrats?
Well, I mean, I think, okay, hey, Democratic wins, and I agree with you on Virginia. Also, they were gleeful over, you know, flipping some state house seats in the state of Washington.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the state of Washington?
I
had no idea we had Republicans there. So
It's not all
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing about Washington. Washington State is
That's-
awesome. And once you get out of Seattle, it's much more balanced, and quite
That's
a few
true.
libertarians there.
There
Shout
is
out.
the Palouse.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Palouse. But, you know, I think that the idea was floated right after the inauguration that if the Republicans, now in charge, as you pointed out, can't get a major piece of legislation, whether it was with health care or whether it was tax reform, I don't even know why we bother to say reform anymore.
That's not right.
Then, yes, they're going to suffer in 2018 because of this frustration. Like, most of the people out in America really don't know from the tax code, right? Or from a new tax package. It's over their heads. But what they do understand is common sense. And they look at this and they think, how can you not accomplish something?
And I wouldn't be too confident in the economy, because you can have contractions as quickly as you can have growth, and in some cases much quicker. You know, the market could tank, and there goes the savings that a lot of middle-income seniors have.
Yeah.
You could see layoffs if these if the corporate rate doesn't go through. So what will actually get Republicans to fire up and fall in line?
Wow, to fire up and fall in line.
Because Susan Collins, not a Republican.
That's a great question. I'm like, wow, so we're just doing straight comedy now. I don't know that it could actually happen. First of all, I think it's hard to call anything a bellwether, just because in the Trump administration, we can't look 30 seconds into the future and predict with any level of accuracy what's going to happen. That being said, I think this election was indicative of Democrats being excited to vote in a contest where the votes would matter. After reading about Donna Brazile for a week and a half, they're like, oh, they're going to tally these? This is amazing. It's not over already? Let's go. They just wanted to try out this new hip thing. You know what I mean? But I think for the Republicans, if they really want to look ahead to 2018 and take it seriously, they need to govern while they have the majority, pass meaningful legislation. Nothing that happened this week matters if the tax bill is actually good, if you actually fixed health care. None of it matters. You'd win at the polls.
Well, you are in charge of the Libertarian National Committee. So let's talk a little bit about other parties coming in and taking advantage of these civil wars. And I've been saying this for as long as someone would put a camera and a microphone on me. Pretty much both parties are completely dissolving. They're cannibalizing each other, and they show how ineffective they are and irresponsible. So why isn't the Libertarian Party more capable of putting candidates forward who actually represent a majority of American views?
We're taking advantage of the fact that the parties are in disarray. The Republicans can't govern. They don't want to govern. They can't cut spending. They're not fiscally conservative. The Democrats aren't really supporting the little guy anymore. And so we tripled our vote total in 2016. We're recruiting over 2,000 candidates in 2018 for the midterms because this chaos is not something, you know, the Republicans want to pat themselves on the back, or the Democrats want to pat themselves on the back for things that happened on Election Day. this chaos is not getting better for either side. There is no Republican Party anymore. I mean, my senator is not seeking
the Libertarian
re-election.
Party to do a better job of running people that are electable.
Challenge accepted.
Why is that so? Okay, fantastic. I mean, I would love to see it. I would love to see people, because unfortunately, I have enjoyed and supported Gary Johnson for a lot of years. Unfortunately, he became the joke of the presidential cycle.
It's a hard slog. I mean, the structure, the system is built to crush new parties. We are the only national political party other than the Republicans and Democrats.
Right. That there was,
and we
there
just
was
have to
a
keep
time to
advancing the
fight
ball.
back with a competent, rational, charismatic candidate. 2016 would have been.
Yeah, I think, you know what, this is a really interesting conversation. I think if the only way the Republicans or the Democrats pull themselves together and actually start making decisions and show leadership and something meaningful is if they see a significant, meaningful third party.
Yeah.
Right. And right now it's not. I mean, no offense, but it's not. But it could be.
We covered
and
the
most people
spread.
I talk to, regardless of how they self-identify and which party they identify with, they are natural libertarians. There are so many out there. Yeah. And unfortunately, we have to move on. We will see this man panel a little bit later in the show. So much to discuss. Right now, President Trump is in the middle of his Asia trip. All right, you ready for a good laugh? Bill Clinton is warning us about presidents not telling the truth. That is so cute. Last night on Conan, the former president implied the current president is messing up the country by stretching the truth. Watch.
The dictators club in the world, and there's a bunch of them, you know, they want two things. They want nuclear weapons because they feel like they can never be dislodged no matter how much people hate them if they got nuclear power. And they want to abolish the line between fact and fiction and truth and lie.
Abolish the line between truth and lie. Bubba knows all about that, having been impeached for lying under oath. Well, I never actually mentioned Donald Trump's name. Was this Bill's way of throwing shade at the man who beat his wife to the presidency? The man panel is back. Mike Baker, Jimmy Fela, Nick Sarwark. I will start with you. What do you think when you watch this kind of stuff?
You know, both sides do it. We live in our own little media reality bubbles, and so the president's just taking advantage of this ability to only talk to his audience, and
the current
they'll believe
president
what
or
he
the
thinks.
past president?
Both of them.
Yeah.
And you saw that, you know, MSNBC versus Fox. You see this breaking up of people into separate realities where we don't even share the same reality, let alone have a national conversation or a dialogue. So it's the way the game is played now.
Jim, you watch a lot of late night TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
This was a little rich to get a truth lecture from. I feel like I just got a lecture on office etiquette from Harvey Weinstein. You know what I mean? Guys, come into the office here. I'm going to show you how you're supposed to behave. A little embarrassing. He hates Trump, though. I mean, one, because Trump has made him as irrelevant as he has, and two, because Trump is now the reason he's home with Hillary for the next 4 years. Think of his schedule and what it was going to be.
Yeah.
First Lady of France.
Home with Hillary.
Home with Hillary.
He wasn't going to move to D.C.
HGTV.
He was going to be at Chappaqua
Oh,
with the Energizer Bunny.
Going to be killing it, you know, and now he's home. And I just think it's also really funny that it was the 1 year anniversary of election night and he didn't stay home. He knew. He's like, I'm not going to be there watching her throw.
I'm not catching another base to the head.
I'm not
Baker.
watching her throw Chardonnay at the help. I'm getting out of here.
What can be said that hasn't already been said by these two fine gentlemen? I agree with both their points. That's why I am here, after all,
That's
because I'm
absolutely
so
right.
agreeable.
You are.
Yeah, but no, it's astounding, but I think your point is really well taken, which is that we have, or the parties have, sliced and diced the demographics so finely now. And technology has allowed so many different platforms that everybody resides in their own little habitat, right? And you've got all these ecosystems out there, and it's just reaffirming what their own personal opinion is.
Yeah,
so you're
that's
right.
True.
People,
It's a series of confirmation biases, and people rarely challenge their own beliefs, and that's what we do every night on this show. Grum, thanks for making your maiden voyage on the SS Canadelia. Jimmy Failure.
Whatever.
I added an I. There's no I in here.
We just met.
Mike Baker.
Thank you.
So much.